الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. It's a sad moment to lose former Prime Minister Ecevit, and it is another sad moment that His Excellency the Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan is not with us for this sad event. We pay our condolences as an IAS to the people of Turkey and to the government of Turkey and to Ihsan Dogramachi himself. Our generous host, Professor Ihsan Dogramachi, founder and chairman of this great Bilkent University, one of your dreams which has come to be true. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is a distinct honor for me to be able to pay tribute to His Excellency the Prime Minister for his patronage of this activity here at the City of Science and Knowledge, Bilkent University. The scientists and technologists of the Ummah appreciate the strides that Turkey has made under his leadership and the role it has carved out for herself as a bridge between the East with its deep roots in history and the West with the technology's advancement. Let me also pay tribute to my dear friend and our eminent host, a man whom I have known for over 35 years, a man who dedicated his life for the betterment of his country through contributing to its educational development, Professor Ihsan Dogramachi. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we meet here at Bilkent to try to take stock of higher education scene in OIC countries, to define what went wrong with our efforts to give the generations of tomorrow the higher education they are entitled to, that is comparable to what is offered in international seats of learning. Experts today speak of a divide between the South and the rich, advanced North. They and we forget that 1,000 years ago, there was a divide between the technologically advanced South and a North very much living in the dark ages. Thus, our meeting here aims to shed a light on how we can move forward in the realm of higher education for the benefit of the member states, member countries of the organization, of the Islamic Conference, and humanity at large. The distinguished participants gathered here represent the local science and academy community, as well as that of OIC, as well world-class scientists and educationists. We are keen to further engage the representatives of countries with large Muslim communities in our neighborhood, such as India and China, as well as the countries of Central Asia, in what we are actually doing. We are also carefully nurturing a collaborative effort with the United States National Academy of Sciences and indeed the French Academy of Sciences, both organizations of which have a proven track record of helping out and for lending a hand, especially in the area of science education. I cite this to break any potential ice or dispel any uncertainty that might arise in the minds of people about the Islamic world, or indeed Muslims. When we say Islamic world, we are referring to that geographical area that spans from Indonesia to Morocco and from Kazakhstan to Uganda. That includes all the races, creeds, and religions that live within it, and without excluding peoples of other faiths that live and have lived in that area since the dawn of time. A closer look at the problems and ills, scientific and otherwise, in Islamic countries reveals that they are trans-religious and cut across the barriers of religion, language, color, gender, or creed. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, when we talk of higher education, we all want to see a system that provides a world-class education of the highest standard for our students. A system that provides the knowledge that equips them with the skills employers will seek for the jobs and professions of the 21st century. Universities that create new knowledge to underpin our innovation and competitiveness that are accountable for the performance, transparent in their operations, and efficient in their administration. That means the development of a diversified higher education sector made up of universities which differ from each other in terms of disciplines, mix, courses, offering, modes of delivery, management, and academic structure. This is the objective that we should all pursue. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in our pursuit of reform, we should be guided by 4 objectives: quality, equity, sustainability, and diversity. At this conference, we will gauge the achievements that some of our universities have made in these areas. We will learn what the shortcomings and how to proceed. Worldwide, higher education is changing, and many higher education institutions and the national systems are in a state of important transition. It is both exciting and unsettling that new educational models and means of delivering educational programs and services are evolving at all levels of higher education. Complex challenges include national regulations addressing, for example, the for-profit private universities, performance-based or research-driven funding for public universities, increased calls for definition, review of student learning, and for other types of public accountability. Mindful of these realities, and since only very few universities in OIC countries are ranked among the world 500 top universities, the Islamic World Academy of Science, together with Bilkent University, decided to lead an effort to appraise the performance of the higher education sector, not only in member countries in OIC, but also in a number of other countries. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, when we talk of equitability and accessibility in our system of higher education, We have to ask ourselves if the utmost demand, that is the number of people who wanted but couldn't get into university, was within acceptable international measures of our universities. In terms of equity, we have to know what is the target that we have to achieve in terms of the participation rate of low socio-economic status students in higher education. Sustainability is another major issue that we have to address. How can we realize a sustainable higher education system that works, and what is the role of the government in this? The need for diversity is obvious. We talk of 57 countries with over 600 public and private universities. We have the population and the sufficient high-quality academic staff to maintain comprehensive universities which are all undertaking teaching, scholarship, and research across a broad range of disciplines. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we have no Harvard or MIT in the OIC, nor do we have their great tradition of philanthropy, which supports such institutions with the capacity for well-funded risk-taking. But we also lack many of the specialized high-quality education institutions which exist with fewer resources in the more diverse system. Belkent University is one of the universities which we always look high so to copy. Not all systems of the Western institutions would be appropriate for the Islamic world. Some of them would not find a market here, but others would flourish and meet the needs of students which are only being half met through our one-size-fits-all obsession. There is obviously a place for fully comprehensive generic universities which meet the skills needs of the nation and of the regions across a broad range of disciplines. There is a place for perhaps a dozen universities like that, particularly in the major metropolitan cities and some distant regions. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as we move into an era of competition for students, both domestic and international, with the prospect of online universities and the advent of efficient private sector institutions, our universities must reinvent themselves. And while the higher education sector of our region, notably China, Singapore, and Korea, are investing heavily and building powerhouses of tertiary education, it is time for us to grow smarter and innovative, keeping ahead of the pack in our own unique, practical, and dexterous ways. I strongly encourage universities to come up with visions for their future, visions which involve some tough decisions of what to pursue and what not to pursue. Our objective should be to create a more vibrant, diverse, and responsive sector that will best meet the needs of future generations and the hopefully safe and exciting world that will inhabit. Excellencies, distinguished scientists, the IAS is 20 years old this year, almost as old as this university. This is the exciting beginning of adulthood for an institution that still believes that more often than not, words speaks louder than action. It is the age when attempts are tirelessly made to reach out to new realms of creativity and constructive change. As it is missing, its mission statement declares the purpose of the Islamic World Academy of Science is, and I quote, to provide an institutional setup for the utilization of science and technology for the development of Islamic countries and humanities at large. I would emphasize the word utilization. Since its launch, the IAS has addressed many issues facing the Islamic world with a view of not only benefiting the Islamic nation, but also benefiting the humankind by means of a well-informed, cooperative, pragmatic, and humane approach. Decision and policy makers have benefited over the years from the Academy publications of conferences, proceedings, and journals. The IAS has so far discussed, among other topics, energy, nanotechnology, biotechnology, information technology, science education, water, environment, technology transfer, and so on. In each case, the Academy has been concerned above all with the question of development. That is, with the practical measure that can be taken by individuals and organizations within the scientific community to maintain values alongside innovative change. Excellencies, distinguished scientists, the Islamic World Academy of Science believe that it is time that we extracted a sound development policy from the mass of information accumulated to our planners, decision makers, and scientists. An S&T template that our decision makers can study, appreciate, and implement. This development policy should be realistic and implementable, one that could be jump-started in months rather than years. A policy that we can adopt using our own human resources, and one which gives priority to inter-Islamic collaboration without closing the door in the face of help and assistance from industrialized countries. The IAS realizes that they have a serious role to play in raising the awareness of the decision makers and the public, and in helping people understand the importance of development and scientific advancement, and indeed helping in achieving socio-economic progress. Excellencies, dear colleagues, for academics of sciences to flourish, they need full independence and long-term financial security and the status that they deserve. Only through making available such conditions would academies of sciences fully realize their potential as think tank or brain reservoir of their respective countries. Dare I say that in Jordan, the Islamic World Academy of Sciences has enjoyed unprecedented support and total freedom to operate and implement activities that fall within its mandate. Jordan has truly been an ideal base from which we have reached out, often at times of political uncertainty, to our counterparts all over the world without undue hindrance. For that, we are ever so grateful to our host country. We are also grateful to all the countries that have hosted us in the past. Most of all, we are grateful to our fellows for their endless, unwavering support. And thank you again, Professor Ihsan Dogromachi, for hosting this conference. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.